That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, "That don't sound right," send us a comment. You're one of us. I would not recommend that.
This is not a TDSR recommended practice. Don't do it.
It is material for TDSR, but it is not a recommended practice.
Man.
All right. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Cecil. How's
Welcome
it going?
back.
Yeah, it's good to be back with the TDSR community. Say that 3 times.
I know, it's a growing community, active community.
Hey, so it's the week after 4th of July.
Yes.
It's starting to get hot.
Yes.
Vacation times are going on.
It is.
Got any plans?
Well, we've already done a lot of traveling already this year.
All right.
I think the rest of our summer will be pretty quiet.
That's pretty good.
There may be one more trip in the works to the beach or to the mountains, but we have spanned the globe this as well as your family has.
Yes, we're just now getting back from Mississippi,
Yeah.
where I can tell you it was just as hot as you thought it was going to be. If you think about Mississippi in the summer, you might think of heat and humidity. We had it.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hot it's down.
But it was great to be with family.
I'm sure. And our daughters have traveled to Spain together this year.
They have, and they seem to have had a good time, and they made it out there without too much drama.
Right.
Although it seems like the flying these days is a difficult thing to do.
Flying has changed.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, when we even like when we flew to China, we were in we weren't like in first class or business class. We were in the back, and we were tight.
Yeah.
It was tight quarters.
Yeah. My manager flew over to Europe and with some other folks on different flights. His trip went smoothly. The other people, though,
Right.
showed up half a day late or
Right.
an entire day late
Yeah.
due to various problems.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but we've had a lot of domestic flights canceled because of storms.
Yeah, right. They're definitely, and then it's hard for them to react and
Yeah.
overcome it for the day.
Yeah.
It's like if your flight is canceled, you have to wait the next day.
This was a few weeks back. I mean, they had like 2,000 flights canceled in a day.
Oh wow! All right.
It's
Well, that's
hard to
why
around.
that's why we drive to Mississippi. It takes just as long to fly
It takes just
to
as long.
Mississippi as it to drive.
We were talking earlier with all the heat about batteries,
Right.
and that you say that if your battery's going to fail, it's going to be during the summer.
That's my words of wisdom.
Right. Oh, well, yeah, we'll come back, circle back around.
Yeah.
I always think that if a battery's going to fail, it's going to be in the winter.
Okay.
But I have a story about a battery that, had I not seen it, I wouldn't have believed it.
Tell me.
This was almost as unbelievable as the time I saw somebody jump a battery by inverting another battery on top of a battery. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't. But it sounds right.
No, it's right.
I mean, the only
technically-
danger is the acid's going to leak out
Yes,
the caps.
or it's going to explode in your hand.
I don't think it'll explode, but I mean, you're just going to have a lot of acid.
Right.
Or
It
you
could
could
leak
have
out.
acid leaking out. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I
so
guess if you
flip
need
it
to
over.
get somewhere, that's what you do.
They lined up the diodes,
Positive,
electrodes, positive, negative, and charge the battery like that.
That's how you do it. It can be done.
I would not have done that in a billion
I wouldn't have
years.
thought of that either. I think I just would have been too afraid of acid going all over the place.
No, there's some danger there. I would never.
I don't think we recommend that.
I would not recommend that.
This is not a TDSR recommended practice. Don't do
It
it.
is material for TDSR, but it is not a recommended practice.
Man.
All right, so I had to get the battery changed in a 2014 Honda van.
Whoa. 2014.
Yes.
Okay, 2014.
So a later model
Yeah,
for me
it's
anyway.
it's later.
For me, it's way later model.
Right.
On modern cars, you have a lot of electronics now.
Sure.
And so when you get a battery change, if you take it to like Advanced Auto, which if you guys want to be our sponsor, we're open for that since we mentioned your name on the air.
Advanced. O'Reilly, AutoZone,
Pep Boys,
Napa.
whoever.
Yeah, I think we should make it clear to our listeners that we don't get any. Like, if you go shop at these places because we mentioned it,
Right.
we don't get jack squat.
Right.
So
There's no remuneration yet.
yeah, there's nothing going on, so we're just giving you our own experience.
I read an article about charging for podcasts.
Yeah.
But that's the new thing.
Oh, yes, I have seen that. You basically, so yeah, what you do is you become like a premium subscriber.
Right.
And what that does is it gives you a couple things. First, you don't have to listen to ads,
Yes.
right? Which, guess what? You don't have to do that with us.
That's right. We don't have anybody advertising with us yet.
And the second thing is you get access to some bonus material, whether it's bonus episodes or bonus show notes. Well, we're giving you all we got.
Everything's free.
We're giving you
all on the table. Literally on the table.
This whole podcast is a bonus.
It is. Y'all are all premium listeners.
Yes, that's right. I hope y'all feel that way.
So if you go to Advance, you take your car into Advance,
Or AutoZone.
AutoZone, they'll change your battery for free. They'll test it and change it. They won't give you the battery for free, but they'll change it for free.
Right.
So I took it in, and what I noticed the last few times, if I take in the later model car, they will hook it up to a bypass machine. So basically, the bypass machine will save all of your presets.
Right.
It kind of protects your electronics.
Yeah.
And saves all your presets.
Right.
Then they change your battery, they unplug the bypass machine, and all is good. So like normally if you disconnect a battery, especially in a modern car, you lose your presets.
Right.
And you could damage some stuff because there's a lot of electronics. Okay. So took the car in, battery was dead or dying, bought a new battery, and so we're going outside to put the battery in for free.
Yeah.
And so the guy who's changing it, instead of hooking up the bypass machine, just tells me to start my car.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, that don't sound right.
No, right.
But I'm too curious at this point to not do it. So I start my car, and he changes the battery out on the van while the van was running.
Nah. See?
Now, had I not been sitting there and watched that...
Did he hook up anything else?
No, he did not hook up anything else. Not that I saw.
So tell me the order in which he did the.
So I start the car.
Okay.
He disconnects the battery, takes the old battery out, puts the new battery in, reconnects it.
Hold on. When he disconnects it, what's he disconnecting?
Just the electrode wires.
In what order?
I didn't see what order. That may be a clue.
That might be a clue. Keep going.
Disconnects it, puts the new battery in, tightens everything back up, and then I cut the car off. But I still had all my presets.
You had all your presets.
Right, because never... But there's a lot of questions there for me. Because I always thought that if you lost the battery, the car cut off. Not because I thought the battery ran the car, but I thought... I think if I started my old Honda, my 2004 Honda, I bet if we took one of the electrodes loose, it would cut off.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, we could test that.
Yeah, we'll have to test that. The only thing I can think of, so theoretically, it's the alternator that's generating the electricity that you need.
Once it's started, once the car is cranked,
right,
your alternator is running your electrical system,
right,
and recharging your battery.
Right, and if the alternator fails, then you start drawing electricity from your battery to light the spark plugs until your battery goes dead and you can go no farther.
Right.
But I was with you. I thought that you needed that battery in the circuit to complete the circuit.
Right.
Now, that said, that might be true of old cars.
Right.
But new cars might have a voltage cutoff where once it senses the battery is charged or so there's something going on with the battery, it can disconnect the battery from the circuit to protect the rest of the vehicle so the vehicle can keep going and you don't need the battery.
Well, maybe that's what the bypass does. When you hook it up, it's tapping into whatever that is, bypassing the battery.
Oh, you mean, the bypass? And I thought the bypass is a bypass and it's a small little battery that keeps everything energized. Right. So you don't lose power to the computer and to the memory. It does two things. It keeps the circuit going and supplies power to everything, so you don't lose all your presets. But the way he did it was you don't lose your presets because the engine was running and the alternator was giving everything power. And I think it must be in these modern cars, the computer can disconnect that circuit, turns off the circuit to the battery. In the event something goes wrong with the battery, it can disconnect the circuit to the battery. Engine keeps running.
So it doesn't fry your electronics.
Yeah, and that's in the event something goes wrong with the battery. Not is it going dead, but maybe it shorts out, or that'd be my guess.
We could test it because I have old cars. We both have.
We have
cars.
several old cars here.
Right.
Which is this the 2014 that you have?
The 2014 that we have now.
That's the one that they did it.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know. They must have though. They must have taken it must not matter if you took one or loose, but generally when you take disconnect the battery, you want to take the ground off first.
Generally, yes.
So he probably did that. He probably took the ground off first.
I was very fascinated by what was happening.
Did you ask him?
I did ask him. I didn't ask enough detail in retrospect.
Yeah.
Because I was fascinated by just the whole thing that was going on. I was just mesmerized by what was happening. I was like, because it shouldn't have worked. I didn't think.
No, older diesel engines you could do that. Older diesel engines don't need a spark to run. So that's why you can submerge a diesel engine as long as the exhaust and intake is above water. It'll run underwater. There's no electricity to short out.
They run on compression.
Right.
They don't need the spark. They just need the battery to warm up the glow plugs.
Yep, and then just crank it over to get it going. That's it. That's all they need it for.
So you could get it started, take the battery out of the circuit.
That's right. Now you would lose your headlights and your interior lights and your fan motor for air conditioning and heating, but you don't technically need it to run the engine.
Well, anyways, that don't sound right. I know you had some advice about a battery.
The words of wisdom are: if your battery is old, replace it before the summer, because there's two things that happen to a battery in the summertime. The first thing is the heat will kill it, and the second thing is your crucial vacation travel will kill it.
Right. If it's going to go dead, it's going to go dead on your.
That's right. In the most inconvenient time. There's never a convenient time, but it's very inconvenient in the summer.
I changed a battery out in sub-freezing temperatures one time.
Why?
It had gone out.
Oh, yeah, it died.
Right,
it also
died.
died.
Yeah, and that's tough to do.
Temperature extremes, batteries don't like the temperature extremes.
So for me, it's usually in the winter when I feel like my car is starting to pull those extra amps.
Right. Yeah, I was just, working on our van, and I noticed that the battery was installed, I think, February of 2018. So here we are, June of 2022. What do you think I should do before I?
Oh, absolutely. Change it.
I think it's time to change it.
That's why the batteries usually run 4 years.
Yeah, I mean they do different lengths, but I think the most you ever really see is a 60-month battery.
Right.
And that's 5 years,
Yeah.
but that's kind of, most people don't.
Yeah, that's pushing it.
That's pushing it. I don't think whoever had this car before me put the 5-year battery in.
That's perfect conditions.
That's right.
Yeah, the 60-month. I've had some batteries go for a long time, but I don't. Once I get into the winter, I don't like to push it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like that in the summer.
Yeah, that's funny that we're at opposite seasons on that.
Well, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, it's always cold weather that triggers that for me. That was the words of wisdom, right?
That was the words of wisdom. Change your battery this summer.
All right. Well, we have come to the end again.
That really doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right. Again, love for y'all to give us a shout out on your social media and help us gather listeners into the TDSR community.
Shoot us an email, tdsrpodcast@gmail.com, or find us on Instagram, tdsrpodcast. I think we're going to be doing a mailbag. We've gotten some good messages. Again, Patrick from Chapel Hill, he's our number one listener from Chapel Hill. He sent us an email talking about some things. And Brad, our number 3, we'll call him number 3, listener number 3, Brad, we're going to talk about that. And then another guy, Sean, he sent us a video about a bear running amok in his campsite.
Oh, that's right. And we've got our number one listener in Africa now, Pat.
That's right.
And Kevin, our old friend Kevin, I won't say his last name on there, but our old friend Kevin, when they were in Spain, at least mentioned the podcast. I don't know if he's listened to the podcast,
Well,
but he mentioned the
fine.
name
That's
of the podcast. So he might be a listener out there too. You never know. Kevin, if you're listening, you need to drop us a line.
Yeah, let us know.
So, but or go and get you a T-shirt and wear it to the pool so people can ask you, why are you wearing that T-shirt?
That's right.
What does that mean?
Because it's a day I didn't have to do laundry.
All right, we all keep talking.
And stay curious.